Hey everybody, Stu Smith here with another CSS critique, and I hope you had a great 4th of July. Sorry we were unable to do our normal Tuesday CSS critique show, but took the day off and had a good one. And today we're doing a little makeup day. This will be a CSS critique show as well as a live Q&A. But before, on Monday, we had a great question, and that question was, what are some of the characteristics of those who make it through Spec Ops training? Those that are successful in Spec Ops training. And basically, I think the question can be broader than that, such as what are some of the mental, physical, maturity type traits that are all, let's call it this: mental, physical, and emotional maturity type traits that are in there, because they all have to be uh, pretty squared away if you're going to make it through training. So let me go through a list real quick because I'm writing a whole article on this. It'll be up on military.com later today. Um, First is show up, and show up for your training every single day. Make it difficult. It doesn't have to be 11 o'clock in the morning at a nice air conditioned gym in the summer or heated gym in the winter. We do our workout 6 a.m. year round outside, and it sucks. Um, sometimes it's beautiful. So, um, but that right there alone creates so much, one, physical ability, but it really tests your why every single day, because there are days, I still have them as well, where I lay in bed 5 minutes before I know I have to get up out of bed thinking, man, I am probably about as comfortable as I have ever been in my life right now. I really don't feel like getting up and going to do this, but you do it anyway. That characteristic right there means everything, because that is how you get a scoop of mental toughness added to your backpack of traits by just doing that. And then you get up to the workout. Some people have to travel 40, 50 minutes just to get to our workouts. Some people are right across the street. That's cool too. But regardless, they're making the consistent attempt to show up. That is number one. And what it's going to do is just going to, by having that consistency, you're going to develop some discipline. You're going to test your dedication. For some people, it's not for them, and they realize it really quickly that, maybe I don't have the right reason why I want to do this. So it will help you determine your why you want to do this as well, because there's going to be days in the morning as well as in training where it is just cold, dark. You know it's going to be cold when you get out of bed, and that's just not a comfortable feeling, but you do it anyway. And you have to have an answer on why you're going to do that. And that is the start of creating that answer, because I promise you, one day or multiple in your selection training, you will have moments when the day has been long, it has turned into night, you are cold, it is dark, you are wet, you're exhausted, you don't see an end to that day. When's this going to end? You don't know. And you have to have a really good answer for why your brain is saying, why are you doing this to yourself? So make sure you have that answer. And showing up every day consistently is going to help you with that answer. All right, work harder, but also smarter. This means add a little more to what I prescribe. So I have a daily workout, takes a couple hours to do. But there's another 22 hours of the day for you to do something else. And maybe you go to work. That's a really good characteristic as well because, if you're working all day on your feet, maybe at school and class with deadlines, that's stress. You got to manage that stress throughout the day and then go work out again in some way and focus on that weakness. Whatever we did in the morning, remember what you did. You didn't do well in something, maybe try it again. If it's something that just requires more recovery, take a rest and actually be disciplined enough to recover so you're better tomorrow. Um, yeah, so that's another big event for people is to not just do the minimum standards, add a little bit more, but make that a focused and smart addition to your day. Where I see people screw this up is, let's say I'm doing, like Monday, we did calisthenics, mixed in some weights, all upper body, mixed in running, and then we swam right after. So that evening, they're like, well, I'm pretty tired on my upper body, so I'll do legs, right? Not a bad idea, but it is a bad idea because guess what we're doing at 6 a.m. the next day? Legs. Not going to be very conducive to your ability to be ready for that leg day if you're doing legs overnight. Now, good night's sleep can help, but at the same time, back to back to back days of upper body or leg days, it just will become a grind on you to a point where now you're battling tendonitis. If you're running too much, you're going to be battling some running injuries, which could be tendonitis, could be shin splints, could be stress fractures. So you have to be really smart on what you need to add. So something we do for guys that, let's say, need to get better at running, but they need to be smart with their progression. Usually my workouts will keep them on that progression and then they need to add maybe some non-impact cardio in the afternoons. However, if they're a little bit above that progression, maybe I didn't run them enough in the morning, they can either make it up in the morning or they can go run again in the afternoon, but mix it with some non impact cardio. Very similar to the way we do our brick training programs, where we bike for 20 minutes and then we run for 20 minutes. You got 40 minutes of cardio. Now you're dealing with only 20 minutes of the impact pains that come with a running progression. So that's how you get smarter with it. Be serious about your recovery. This is really important. Make sure you're eating well, you're sleeping well, you're not doing late night partying and getting hammered because that really screws up your recovery. Because if you're going to take this seriously, your recovery is going to be the answer to your optimal performance. The worse you recover, the worse you're going to perform, whether that is in testing or in daily output. It's bad, so you have to be recovering. Now here's the flip side to that. That doesn't mean work out really hard in the morning, go take a 2 hour nap, work out harder again, go take a nap, and then eat and sleep and be everything's perfect. Another big characteristic is working out in the morning, then being on your feet all day or studying or in class with deadlines, so it's some form of stress. Working a physical labor job after a 2 hour workout, it's really tough to do, but it really gets you prepared for the grind that is a day of spec ops training. Not all spec ops training is going to be 12 hours of physical activity in a 24-hour day, right? You may have a run in the morning, you may have a swim in the afternoon, may have an obstacle course somewhere in between, a bunch of PT spread throughout, but you're also going to have some time when you are getting equipment ready and you're going from A to B. You got to learn how to do something and then you go do it. So there's a lot that you're just doing all day doesn't necessarily mean that it is a run or a lift or a swim. You're just up doing stuff. And it's the grind that gets you, because when you're done for the day, you still have to take care of your equipment. You got to clean your room for a room inspection. You have all these other little tasks that just make the day longer. So the more you can get used to that mixed with training, um, that is very helpful. I remember going through, and I was in college, and then the next 2 months after college, I went to Buds. But my college day looked like this: I'd wake up in the morning, do a workout. I go to class all morning. However, I may have a class free in there, and I would get a swim in. Or maybe I had 6 classes in a row and I had to do all 6 of them. I had no time to do any extra workouts, but I got it done in the morning, go to lunch, maybe squeeze something in at lunch if I could. Um, and then I go to rugby practice for like a couple of hours in the afternoon. But we would run to rugby practice, which was usually like a mile and a half away, and then we would run back. And then on the way back, we'd swing by the pool if we didn't swim that day, and we get something else done to help prepare. And then we'd study from 6, 7, 8 o'clock to 10, 11, 12 at night, just to get that done. That was a long day. Days flew by. Um, but it was a grind. And I remember being at Buds after experiencing that for 4 years. And I was like, holy crap, I don't have to do homework. I don't have to go work out. Right? My day's done. I was like, this is awesome. All I got to do is polish my boots. This is sweet. So getting used to the grind is very important. The other final one, I'm going to put these in the last two, and I'll start answering questions. Um, is maturity. There's not a whole lot you can do about maturity, but grow. Sometimes that takes time. Sometimes that takes events. But both physical maturity, make sure you're done growing. I see a lot of people who go to Buds who haven't even finished puberty yet, and they're still growing. Their bones are soft. They're susceptible to more injuries. They're not as strong as the men that are going through that training, um, because it's not a kid's game. This is it's a tough program. Um, Emotional maturity is also another issue. Just being a young teenager who's homesick, girlfriend breaks up with you, you're getting negative feedback all the time. If you're not used to any of that, um, it can be really challenging, for many people. So give yourself some time. Don't be in a hurry to join. That's the biggest thing. And final, you don't have a plan B. Don't have a good plan B. Right? A lot of people, have ideas like, hey, if I don't make it here, I can go to Swick or I go EOD or whatever. And those are great jobs. However, um, just don't have a good plan B. Yeah, for me, it was, being a surface warfare officer after I if I would have not made it through Buds. Not that that's a horrible job. It just wasn't for me. Um, so that wasn't a good option for me. So I was like, yeah, even if I wanted to quit, I wouldn't. Right. So um, that's also another way to do it. But anyway, I am starting to ramble a little bit on this one. It's been about 14 minutes for this intro. So let's take some questions. I know it's not a normal day, but looks like we have some questions here for us anyway. So Matt says, currently on your 90-day back to fitness. So that's a beginner program. It's really good. It'll help you get build a habit back to training. I'm also applying to become a police officer. Great. Take the test July 24th. Is it okay to add in? Yeah, you need to add in more than the beginner workout. Um, you're a big fella. Got to do 80% of my body weight, which is 305. I look at mixing in some 5x5s. Yeah, I would do that. Man, holy crap. You're, man, you're a big dude. Holy jeez. weight loss is going to be your number one friend if that's not all muscle. Um, so I would still focus on weight loss, but yes, you're going to have to add in some bench press. I'm not sure how much running you have. And July 24th, ooh, man, that's a long time. Hopefully you've been doing this for a while. But yeah, add in some 5x5s on your push-up days for sure. Do you have any advice for working out on minimal sleep? Yeah, I've written some articles on it in the past. Um, it's not a great thing to do. My advice, let me see if I can find something like I have like a no sleep workout. Oh, look at that. Bam. There's an article titled Tactical Fitness. Should you work out after little sleep? Great question. So check out that article. That may help you in there. My advice is anytime you're doing um oh, they took out a big section of that article. What the hell? Um so that article may not say much to you. Um but I will tell you this. Here's my answer to that is to um do something that is not high intensity. And the reason why I say that is if you do too many nights of missed sleep in a row, you're really not recovering. So you're starting to exhibit um, some of those symptoms of overtraining. Even though you're not overtraining, you're just under recovering. So do a more lower impact or lower intensity workout. Uh, some easy cardio. Something to kind of work off some of that stress. Focus on your breathing. Um, but I tell you what, I probably one of the last things I would do, especially if you're really stressed, like you can really tell, like your lack of sleep for several days. This is when it becomes chronic. One night sleep doesn't really matter. Just suck it up and go do it. But if you're missing consecutive nights sleeps and you're just a poor sleeper, um, one, you need to address that and try to get some sleep. But if it's a lot and you're feeling the stresses of that, go lower impact, lower intensity, and focus on your breathing. You want to burn some calories, but you don't want to do it in a way where you're just going to burn the candle at both ends. Now you're not sleeping and you're overtraining, and it's just a stone that just rolls down a hill, gains more speed. Next thing you know, you're sick or you're injured. You've just really overdid done it. How to stop procrastination? Procrastination. That's a tough one. Usually, what I do, and I do it often, especially when I have a writing deadline. Like this morning, I had a writing deadline, but I had a great idea from you guys, and I just kind of read it to you at the beginning of this video. But there are some days where I don't have an idea of what I'm going to write about, and so that will lead me to do other things. Like instead of sitting at my desk thinking about what I'm writing about, I'm doing other things. And I have to physically, verbally say, I am procrastinating. And once I say that and I hear myself say it, it's almost like there's a psychological trick that people have used for years in performance increasing. It's called the name it and tame it, right? So when you give an emotion a name, you kind of help your brain classify that and tame it versus it just popping around in your head, you know, just distracting you um, or causing you to just not have any focus at all. So Yeah, try to do that. Give it a name. Like when you feel yourself procrastinating, say, I am procrastinating. Why am I procrastinating? And then start figuring it out. Next thing you know, you're thinking about what you're procrastinating and you start getting a little bit more directional in getting that job done. Kind of a long answer on that one, but hopefully that helps you. Good question though. Because it happens every day. I mean, and don't feel bad if you're procrastinating. It's just it's human, but it's also human to get over it and deal with it. I've been dealing with some pain in my tricep tendon. My push-ups went from multiple sets of intermediate amount of reps to having to do sets of 1 to 5. Any advice? Yeah, rest. Tricep tendons need rest, especially if you're doing a whole lot of repetitions. That's why, when I see people doing thousands or 2,000 rep workouts, those are great if you've built up to it logically, but there's really no need. You're probably going to have to endure some tricep tendonitis at some point, um, or really reduce your range of motion in order to actually do a half push up. So my advice is to do one of two things. You got a tricep tendon. If it's above the elbow, you can get a little band for it. If it's below the elbow where it connects, it's going to be more of a forearm issue than a tricep tendon issue. But if it's hurting your elbow, um, see if a wider grip may help. Um, that may help with some push-ups. But in the end, rest is going to uh, be your best bet. Maybe hand placement instead of like this, go a little wider. Change the angle. You might be able to do a few reps, but anti-inflammatories, compression sleeves might be a good addition to it. But rest is the number one answer. Recently had Achilles tendon strain. How do I gauge when I can go back to running? That's a good question. You one, make sure there's no swelling. Sometimes I've seen swelling on Achilles that just looks so painful. I don't even know how the person's walking. If there's swelling, obviously don't run. If it hurts to walk up a hill, I wouldn't run. I definitely wouldn't even try jumping because that's probably one of the ways many people hurt their Achilles is by doing box jumps when they're not warmed up. They also do it by sprinting when they're not warmed up. Um, Sometimes people just do it from too many miles of regular running too, but it is typically a stretching injury. So my advice would be to foam roll, massage, avoid stretching, and let the muscles and the tendons actually heal versus constantly micro stretching and micro tearing them every day. Um, and try to run when you do start running, run on softer ground with a very short stride. Just shorten your stride up a little bit, kind of like a rucking stride called a shuffle. Try that and see how that feels before you go into your normal running stride. And then start off slow, meaning speed, and avoid sprints for a little bit longer. You can definitely start jogging. Just I would jog flat, soft surfaces first, and then go into jogging hills if you can. If that hurts, don't sprint. So that's how I would kind of progress into running again. Damn, Joe, that's huge. I had no idea. I thought you're thinking about preparing for buds with all the buds questions you ask. What fins do you have your guys buy to train for buds? The ones they issue at buds. So they will issue you rocket fins or jet fins. Those are only two I've seen used in the last decade and a half. Apologize if I don't remember correctly. Didn't you say at some point that you were preparing for buds, you were hitting low amounts of sleep, or am I wrong? I wasn't particularly hitting great amounts of sleep because I just explained my day. I was probably getting about 6 hours of sleep. So from 11:30 to 5:30 was my normal sleep schedule. Now it's about 9:30 to 5:30, which is awesome. Um, Sometimes 10:30 to 5:30, but I know a lot of people going into selection has some fears they have to get over. Water, yes. Did you have any? Yeah, heights. I've never liked heights. In fact, I jump out of planes, but I don't do it as a hobby. Um, I loved the water growing up. I've been scuba diving since I was 12. Never had a problem with the water, but heights was one of those things. Even doing the obstacle course, that cargo net that goes up like 3 or 4 stories. That gave me a pucker factor at the very top when you had to roll over it and grab it and go on down. Uh, I just didn't look down. I just looked at where my hands were. I didn't look at anything and just focused on exactly what I was doing. But yeah, you definitely have to get over those, and just if you really want to do it, you'll find a way to do it. But water is one of those you just need a lot of time in the water. I think the reason why I was comfortable in the water is I was in it for years. May I ask why you stopped instructing at Budge and changed to trained candidates instead? I've been out of the Navy, so I never instructed students at Buds. I was an instructor at the Naval Academy before I got out of the military, and I instructed them, prepared them for Buds. But I've been out of the Navy since '99, so you know that's you got to be in the Navy to go do that job, or be a contractor. There are some former SEALs that are there that are um, government service guys. I retired from military this year with 21 years total. Someone young needs to take my place. Awesome. Hey, thanks. Thanks for that commitment, because that is a level of commitment that I did not have. To serve 21 years. That I thank you and honor that commitment for sure. I stayed motivated by remember it was harder for those before me and freedom isn't free. Love it. Absolutely. That's a great why right there for sure. Thank you. How do you wake up early enough even when you stay up late? You know what? I don't know how I can answer that one, to be honest with you. Um you just got to do it. It's tough. It's hard to do. So if you want to get tougher, you have to do tough things. Waking up early is one of those things that can add that scoop of mental toughness to your day every single day. How can I contact or send you my CSS for critique? I hope the app you suggested to contact you is available in Malaysia. Um, well, there is a app that's on. I got a couple apps. You can put my name in the app stores, but it's called Navy SEAL Exercises with Stu Smith. Is my free app that has hundreds of videos, well, probably about 120 videos of exercises and swimming techniques and treading and all that. Um, but it's all those videos are also on my YouTube channel. So you can find them all on my YouTube channel, or you can have them at the palm of your hand with an easy app that is pretty cool. Also has some workouts on it as well. But yeah, just email me, stu@stewsmith.com. In fact, I will do this. Let me put this up here. You can see it. Go by the ticker. Stu@stewsmith.com. You see that right there where that arrow is? I can't do it. Can't do it with my right there. Right there. Right there. Stu@stewsmith.com. Email me. All right. Let me see what I can do with some videos. I haven't pulled any up yet, so give me a second. We'll do a couple videos that were submitted this week. That was last week. Oh crap. All right, let me do this. We're going to go to Instagram and to my DMs. Well, a lot of people send me these to the DM too, by the way. Send me videos of swimming, and I will find one here for you real quick and pull it up. Man, hadn't been here in a while. Let me see here. What's going on? It'll take me just a second. I'll pull one up. Get one going here. Jeez. All right. Let me do this. I'm wasting your time. I apologize. Let me pull up one of these. We'll go here first with a what I'm going to share. Turn off the volume. Pause it here. I hope this is a CSS and not a freestyle, because it's starting off like it's a freestyle. So let me just show you this right here. That is called an overwater recovery. Now, he may be doing freestyle on this. I don't know. I just saw him kick off the wall. I don't think I've shared this one. So let's show this. Yeah, you see that? That is a overwater recovery on that one. So he's not doing it correctly. So this would be a failure in the CSS test, just because that arm is not going underwater. So when he kicks off this wall, does a good kickoff. He's deep enough, kind of skips the breaststroke pull up, but that's okay. Not everybody can do one of those. You don't have to. But that out of arm recovery is not good. Everything else is good. Top arm, bottom arm, kick, hold the glide. Could hold the glide a little longer. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi pull. So he's pulling about 2 seconds too quickly. But yeah, I give him a B on the stroke. Just needs to fix that glide. And then an F on the underwater recovery part of this stroke, because if you don't do an underwater recovery, it's a failure. And I think he sent me another one where he does a breaststroke pullout. And okay. So I think he sent me a second one after I corrected, maybe not. But anyway, he sent me one. Check this out. So we'll go here, pull this guy up. Oh man, let me share my screen here. All right, here we go. Share screen, Windows, boom. Okay, now we're going. Okay, so watch this. Kicks off the wall. Notice how deep he is here. He's really deep. And look at him coming up to the surface. See all those extra flutter kicks to come up to the surface? All you need to do is turn to breathe whenever you come up to the surface. That is like a 3-foot recovery. But notice this: top arm, bottom arm, fix the kick or fix the arm pull and recovery. We'll say this looks a little smoother. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Yeah, he's holding a little longer too. Not bad. I mean, he does this in like 55 seconds. Probably can make up some of that time. Yeah, I can see like he wants to pull that elbow out of the water, but he recovers. He catches himself and pulls it up underwater. That's how you do it. Nice. I will say this. I think he's rolling over on his belly a little too quickly in between the stroke. And remember, you don't have to roll over to your belly. So notice this scissor kick and recovery are going really well, right? He kicks and he recovers, right? But he's already on his belly here. Now, what I recommend people to do is you have a 3 Mississippi glide. If you're doing it right, slowly rotate over to your belly or maybe quarter turn before that next stroke, and then you can do that top arm pull. But what's happening here is in the middle of his scissor kick, he's rotating over on his belly, which makes your kick really weak. I mean, it's not bad. You got a pretty good streamline that goes with it, so that's helpful. But you can have a much stronger kick and probably be 5 seconds faster per 50 by just kicking on your side and then during the glide rolling over on your belly versus turning a scissor kick into a breaststroke kick. All right. Let's see. A couple more questions, then I got to bail on you guys. How can I? Okay, just did this. Which multivitamin do you use? Well, I use a couple. Men's Multi. Now, remember, I'm 54, so I am a lot different than younger guys taking multis. I need all kinds of stuff just to help me with my health, but I also take vitamin D when I'm not in the sun. So, in fact, I haven't taken them today, so I will take my gummies and do that. Yeah, there you go. They seem to work. Something I like to do though, whenever I do vitamins, is I like to take them for a couple of jars and then not take them for like a month and just see if I notice a difference. Because I do eat well, but if I'm just wasting my money on these things and I don't really need them, I like to determine that. So sometimes I'll give it a test, see see how I feel during it, and then see how I feel when I'm not doing it. And that is always a good answer for me, whether or not they're working or doing what they're supposed to do. And it may be very subtle. It could be a performance thing, could be a recovery thing, could be just how I feel, my mood, maybe. All those little things come into account whenever I am assessing what I'm putting in my body. Hey Stu recently started working for a moving company. Ah, yeah, yeah, that's some serious work there. Typically work from 6:30 until 5, sometimes later in Texas heat. Woo! Make sure you hydrate. When I get off work, I find it's hard to get a workout. Any advice? Yeah, my advice in that Texas heat is I'd probably work out before work. Whenever it's less hot, it's going to be always humid probably. So, I know it's going to suck to say this and hear this, but a 4:30 workout is not out of the question. You can get some good running in. You're going to get plenty of lifting, so don't worry about lifting, right? The lifting that you're doing, moving furniture, is going to help you more than any weight room workout you're going to do preparing for these type of jobs. Um, so good job there. And then the other thing is just calisthenics and cardio is what I would add. Be honest with you, that is what I would do. So get on a calisthenics and cardio plan. Do it before work. Um, After work, I will say, test it out. Do a few after work workouts, and you're going to find that you don't want to do it. But that is when you build the most mental toughness into doing it. I promise you. Now, if you're dehydrated and exhausted and you need to eat and take a shower and hydrate and get your electrolytes in and go to sleep, that's fine too. But if you can get it done before, get your hydration going during that whole workout so you're well hydrated and then stay well hydrated during the Texas heat. Um, you could really build a tough body and mind by doing that. So I'm all for those kind of jobs. I worked in Florida in the summer during the summers. I would do watermelon. I worked in the watermelon fields and I did landscaping. And that sucked. It was always hot. And then I played baseball on a summer league, as a catcher. That sucked too. Then we'd work out in the evenings at high school just to get ready for football season. Yeah, those were days that made you strong for sure. Okay, last question. Oh, nope, that was the last question. All right, folks, that was fun. That was a good one. Thanks for listening. If you guys have any other questions for me that you remember, or if I missed one, you can just send it right here. Right here. Stu@stewsmith.com. I will answer those emails for you. And hopefully to help you with what you're looking for. Typically, if you email me, sometimes I will get really in depth in those answers versus the quick 30-45 second response to a question on these live Q&As. And sometimes I can link articles that I've already written inside that email. So that works real well for me as well. Sometimes, like today, your question from Monday created an article. So thank you for that. We all win in this journey. But yeah, you guys go check out StuSmithFitness.com and you'll see a store there full of books and ebooks and programming. Live 1.5 will save you 15%. And don't forget, hit that like button because this thing runs on likes. So I appreciate your time. Thanks for the great questions. And we'll see you next time. You know what? Let me answer this question real quick before I go, and then I'll close it out. You said one time it's harder for active duty Navy to go to buds. Would it be possible for exit the Navy and apply as a civilian? No, because you'll never be a civilian. You'll be a former Navy guy trying to get to buds, which means you have a year group. And if your year group is full, you can't go to buds. Now, I think the longer you stay out, your year group changes, and that may be beneficial for you to getting back in. I don't know. So that is a tricky question. It is when I say it is harder, that's what I mean. It is harder for that. So it's harder for active duty guys to get to buds than it is for right off the street. That's just the way it's set up. But they do take some active duty guys to lateral transfer into buds from their current rate. That's just a different process, and it's not as easy as becoming a civilian. All right, that's it. We'll end it there. That was a good question. Thought I'd give it a 30-second answer. Until next week, you guys have a good one.